Sometimes, just sometimes, a joke is so utterly ridiculous that it becomes believable. You can read those words on the screen right now if you're watching the video version. I wrote this article a couple of weeks back, and I almost hated having to write it. Like it bothered me that I was right. By writing this article, I became something that I hated. The kind of person that was disproving a joke. That's a horrible, horrible thing to be. But in this particular case, the joke has been repeated so many times as if it weren't a joke that people were starting to believe it was real. This is how things happen. This is how crazy myths get started in the Linux and technology and computing world. Case in point, that moth. Do I have a picture of the moth? Hold on a second. We're going to come back to this. Do I have a picture of the moth? I don't have a picture of the moth. Whatever. I don't have a picture of the moth. The moth. The great myth that the very first computer bug was actually a bug, a moth that flew into the transistors of a big old computer, and that is why we call software defects bugs, right? Totally good joke, totally fine, adorable. Not at all true. Like there's like several falsehoods to that statement. I hate having to disprove a joke, but so many journalists, and tech historians would repeat this story of the moth being the first bug as if it were not a joke. And you'd think, well, maybe they're just being really droll about it. Really, they're just having a real dry sense of humor about it, right? Like they're in on the joke, so they're repeating it. No. They genuinely believe that is the truth. And this sort of thing actually happens with great regularity in the computing world, where someone tells an utterly unbelievable and ridiculous joke. It gets repeated so much that we now believe it is true. Unfortunately, Keith the Rat has entered the periphery of this particular problem, and it is absolutely insane. So the joke is this. Let me see if I can find the exact text here. The official mascot, I'm reading the quote here. The official mascot for C++ is an obese, diseased rat named Keith, whose hind leg is missing because it was blown off. This is a contemporary version drawn by Richard Stallman. And then I'm showing on screen Keith the Rat. Okay. Is that a funny joke? It kind of is. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. It's a diseased, obese rat with a leg blown off, drawn horribly in what looks like MS Paint by Richard Stallman. I love it. Good, solid joke. Repeat it, spread it around. Awesome. I would even I write satire for a living sometimes. I mean, heavens to Betsy, I'm cool with this. But people, if you go on Twitter and you search for Keith the Rat or Keith Mascot C++, or look around at blogs, people are genuinely believing it. And people are incredulous. Oh my gosh, Richard Stallman, why would he do this? Why would Richard Stallman draw this mascot for Keith the Rat? And they genuinely believe him. They believe that this is a real thing. So I have to step in. I have to move from my I like a good joke and good bit of satire to my curmudgeonly tech historian role for a moment. C++ does not have a mascot. I can't believe that I need to say this, but that mascot is not an obese, diseased rat with a leg blown off drawn by Richard Stallman. This is not the case. How do I know this? Because I've talked to everybody involved, and that is absolutely not the case. In fact, I even talked to Richard. Oh, here's pictures of it, of one tweet. This is just one example tweet. Am I the only one that did not know this? The C++ mascot is the disease-riddled rat with a missing leg. I cannot begin to fathom what was going through Richard Stallman's mind. So many people genuinely, and when you ask them, they genuinely don't realize that this was a joke. So, but here, I reach out to Richard. I reach out to Richard. Where is this? Where is this? There it is. Because Richard's a good guy, and I asked him. I'm like, Richard, this is the thing that's going around. I know you didn't draw it, but people are saying you did. What do you say in response to that? What do you say in response to that exact thing? And this is what Richard sent me in its entirety. Quote, that is incorrect. It was not drawn by me. I would be unable to draw that. I am not very good at drawing. I have a low opinion of C++, but I don't hate it. Dr. Richard Stallman. There you go, right? I, oh, I love Richard Stallman so much. He's just he's, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It was not drawn by me. I would be unable to draw that. I am not very good at drawing. What? I don't know if any of you find it as amusing as I do, but I find it very, very amusing, and that is 100% legit. This is not satire, by the way. This is Richard, and this is what he said about it. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let's go up here and look at this disease this disease rat. I just ruined this joke. I just came along and I ruined a perfectly good joke. And the thing is, the fact that people were believing this makes the joke better. Like the joke was getting better with time. It wasn't just a one-off, someone made a goofy bit of text in an image. The fact that it was being bought into and believed by tech journalists, by literally people who are supposed to be chronicling the history of technology and Linux, they literally are believing this story. Not a joke. It's several of them. You can find articles where they believe this to be true. Crazy. So that makes it hilarious. That's very, very funny. And I ruined it. I just came along and I ruined all the fun. I'm the biggest party pooper of all time. I feel terrible about it. But it's partially my job to correct the weird myths of computing history, and this one was very quickly approaching that level of the moth being the first computer bug. Right? It was right there. We were right on the cusp of it just being in like textbooks and history books. It's ridiculous. Now, should this be the C++ mascot? Maybe. You know what? Why not? Should the C++ have a mascot? I don't know. Maybe it should, but it doesn't have a mascot now, and perhaps that is a travesty in and of itself. Perhaps it should have a mascot, Keith or otherwise. That would be funny if Keith actually became the real C++ mascot after not being, but everyone thinking it was. Maybe that's what should happen. Because if that happens, I would be very happy to write a follow-up celebrating that the previous myth is now a reality. Thank you to everybody who makes it possible for me to be a big giant party pooper. By subscribing to the Lunduke Journal over at lunduke.locals.com. Go to lunduke.com. There's links where you can get the RSS podcast feed and follow my videos and my live streams and get all my articles and everything else. There's a sale going on right now for subscriptions. If you go to lunduke.locals.com and one of the top couple of posts talks about a sale, there's a sale going. If there's no top couple of posts right up top that talk about a sale, the sale's over and you missed it. When does the sale end? Whenever I feel like it. I'm a loose cannon, everybody. You can't put Lunduke in a corner. Lunduke's gonna do whatever Lunduke's gonna do. So when I say I'm gonna have a sale today, I launched a sale. Put up the sale earlier today. Okay, it's a good sale. It's a good sale. You get the triple pass, which gives you all the different things in the Lunduke Journal, the 3 different sites, the politics and the nerdy entertainment, and the tech and all that sort of thing. You get all that for a year for a really good price. I also have a lifetime subscription you can get for a really good price. Fantastic. When does that sale end? I don't know. Lunduke, aren't you a marketing executive? Didn't you literally run marketing for multiple Linux and technology companies? Yes, I did. Well, when does the sale end? I don't know. Maybe it ends in a couple minutes. Maybe it ends tomorrow. Maybe it goes forever and we just don't know it. I don't know. If you want it, go take advantage of it. If you don't want it, don't take advantage of it. It's all good, but there's a sale going right now. And what's great is when you support the Lunduke Journal, you're actually supporting independent journalism, not just about Keith the diseased rat, but the actual independent journalism. If you look at the articles that the Lunduke Journal has published, that's the serious ones, not the Keith the rat ones, but the serious articles over the last year. We're talking about stuff that all of the rest of the tech news world won't even touch at all. I mean, deep investigative journalism into Mozilla, the Linux Foundation, Wikimedia, IBM, Red Hat, Microsoft. I go after them in depth in ways that the other major tech media won't and can't, because they take money from all those organizations in the form of advertisements and other sponsorships. I don't. There's no ads here. The only ad you'll ever see in the Lunduke Journal is for the Lunduke Journal. That's it. That's it. That's it, and that's all. The only thing that I will shill is myself. So you know that I'm going to go after things. I'm going to get on it, and no big tech company is safe from the Lunduke. Not even people who try to pass off Keith the diseased rat as the C mascot. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being awesome. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare end broadcast.